Well, hello YouTube friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to the Painted South. Well, September is finally here and it is time to start preparing for autumn decorating. I know a lot of people have already decorated their entire home, but it is still so hot here in South Carolina that I have put it off for just a little while, but I have started doing some prepping and doing some DIY projects, and I thought I would share those things with you today. So some of today's video has been filmed over the past week, of course. All of the painting projects take a little bit of time to dry, and they were a lot of fun to do. I hope you enjoy those. But I do have another little shopping haul I ran out today before I started editing the video and filming this intro, and I picked up a few more things at some thrift stores. The one is only open on Wednesdays and Fridays, and so I try to get out there and see what they might get in that is new. And I stopped by one of my other favorite little boutiques. She's having a 40% off sale, so I just got two small things there. And then the other haul I already filmed, so I'm going to have that throughout this video and show you everything that I have done to the living room. Okay, so let me show you the haul. Okay, so one of the first things I wanted to show you was something that I picked up when my husband and I had to run to Charleston for an appointment, and I stopped in at home on the way back. There's one in Greenville and there's one in Charleston. And so since I was passing right by it, I just ran in there for a few minutes. I was actually looking for pumpkin topiaries and some really large planter pots for some ideas that I had. So I didn't find anything that I really loved. They're stacked pumpkin topiaries. The sizes were nice and I liked the idea. They were kind of what I was looking for, but the paint job was really poor on most of them. There was a blue, and I think blue and cream and white, something like that, and had some wheat around it, and it was nice, but they were kind of expensive, and the paint job was very plain and very kind of cartoonish looking. It was just, there was no depth to it really. I could have purchased them and repainted them, but it's a lot of money to start out with. So I didn't get those, although they were kind of neat. And then I saw some orange ones that they had. They were kind of nice, but also a little plain, and they were, again, kind of pricey. The ones that I saw that I think looked the best were $129.99. And I just thought, that's kind of a lot because I really wanted two. So with tax, I would have been well over $260 for just two pumpkin topiaries. And I just didn't want to spend that kind of money. So I decided that I would create my own when I got home. And that's what I did. And I'm going to share those with you here in just a minute. But I did find at home, the store at home, I did find some slanted, sort of the spilling pots. They lay on their side and they spill out. They had some of those on sale for 50% off. And so I purchased two small ones and one very large one. I'm not going to try to hold the large one up. It's you know, I don't know, it's fairly large. So this is what they look like. I may or may not use them for fall. They are kind of a nice yellow color, but they make it a makeover and I may use them in the spring. I'm not sure, but let me show you what they look like. So this is one of the smaller ones. You can see there's a drainage hole and it's going to lay on its side like so. And I don't really know, here, this is a more accurate depiction of the size. So they're nice. I mean, I don't even know how much these were because the tag is off, but they were on clearance. I know that's backwards to you, but they were 50% off. And like I said, I got two of this size and then one fairly large one. And I kind of like the yellow color, but it's also kind of boring. So I don't know. I may make these over, but I was happy to find these. I've been looking for some and they get kind of pricey. So I was happy to find these for half off. Okay, so today I actually picked up these next items. And I picked up two of these little candlestick or candle holders. They're really nice, solid wood. They were 40% off of $22.95 at the little boutique that I like to visit. And I may use these as risers or use them in some other DIYs or just set a really nice fat candle on there. Here's a more accurate size. They look really large like this, but they're a nice chunky size, but they were nice and plain, and so I'll be able to use them for a lot of different things. They're not really ornate. They're kind of rustic country. I might be tweaking the color a little bit. I do like this whitewash though, so I got 2 of these. And I only got 3 other things today, and they were at the little thrift store that's only open 2 days a week. So one of them was this basket. It has the flat back, and so I got this. My thought was to put it in my kitchen so it didn't take up so much room coming off of the backsplash. But this one was $7. I may darken it a little bit, but I thought it was a nice size. And like I said, it's shallow, so I'll be able to put it up against a wall. I could even hang it on the wall, just put something, some little hangers on the back. But anyway, I thought that was nice for $7. This next item is a marble sort of tray. It just has these little tiny feet glued on there. So I don't know if I'm gonna leave those on there or pop those off and put it on some type of pedestal base, but it's this beautiful green, oops, sorry about the ring light. It's this beautiful green marble, and I know a lot of people think this is kind of dated, but to me, it's very European. I love all the yellows and greens and things like that. So I thought this would add a really nice color all throughout the year, even, you know, through, of course, autumn and then Christmas, spring, summer. So I love green, all kinds of greens. And so I thought this was a really nice tray, sort of platform. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. But it was $15 and she gave it to me for $12. So pick this up, see if I can show you up close. Some really nice color to it. And again, might pop off those little rubber things and make it into a plant stand or something like a riser, you know, a riser for like on the island or something like that, somewhere that needs some color. Okay, and then the last thing I got at that thrift store was another basket. Surprise, like I need more baskets. But I love the shape of this one, and I like how it cuts down like this. It's a good size. I love the color. It's just a really nice shaped basket. It's very large. And so I thought this would be great to decorate for autumn. Well, all throughout the year. But I love baskets, and they're very expensive when you go into retail stores. Even if they're on sale, they're very expensive. And this one was $15, and she gave this to me for $12 also. So not a bad buy on that one. So that's all that I picked up while I was out today. And I want to get into the video and show you all that I've done here in the living room and sort of the process of moving things around and so forth. And then I found 2 tables while I was out shopping. I went shopping still looking for a rug and a coffee table and some end tables. And I didn't find those items, but while I was out, I found 2 console tables that I absolutely love, 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 love. They're kind of a smaller version, similar to some that I have that are too big for the house, and also their marble tops got broken. They're my favorite tables. I'll never get rid of those. I just have to have more tops made for them. That's going to be in another video later down the road, but I found these 2 and they fit perfectly on either side of the fireplace, so I had to get them. And her booth in the little antique mall was 20% off that day, and so I got a pretty good deal on those. So let me show you what I've done here in the living room, and then we'll go from there and get into these fun DIY projects. I really hope that you like the DIY projects. This may not necessarily be a detailed tutorial, because when I paint, I like to sort of experiment, and a lot of times I'll do layers that end up not being necessary to the end result. But I love the process, the creative process, and every item, each thing is sort of a learning process for me. All the paints are different, and I just like to sort of enjoy that process. And so you will see what I use, and I'll explain all of that, but you can see each of the items at different stages throughout the process, and you might like it at the beginning stage, the middle stage where I had everything kind of looking like concrete. And I did leave some things looking like concrete or chippy plaster concrete, you know, like in an old French garden, something that's been sitting out for years and years. So I have a couple things like that. And then I ended up changing all of the pumpkin items that I decided to do. So I liked them both ways, but I do like how they turned out in the end. So let's get into the rest of the video. Okay, so now we're in my little makeshift work area. I have this library table, and I just have some brown paper taped down. Some of these pieces I already had, and I shared in the last video or previous videos, and this was one I had done and the top broke off. So I have to redo that one. But some of these I just picked up at a thrift store and a local boutique that was having a 40% off sale. So let me show you these items. Now these, I had two exactly like this that were taller. You may have seen them before, and I painted them a bright green. Well, this is the medium and the short one. So now I have complementary ones in different heights. So I think I'm going to be painting all of them over again in a more neutral color, so I'll be able to stagger them, or I'm going to use these as pedestals, like as a riser, and make some little tops for them. So I got two of those at her store. I also picked up two of these little candles. You may have seen these in a different color. I have them in a darker brown, and they just take some batteries and they're on a timer. And I grabbed the last two of that color because they looked perfect for fall to me. I am going to get some different ones that have more of a flicker, more of a realistic look, but I went ahead and picked up these two while I was there. Now, while I was at a thrift store, I finally found a Lazy Susan so I can do my paint projects. I didn't want to spend a fortune, and I got this solid wood one for $5, so I was excited to get that. Now, this pot was from Walmart. It's a planter. And the outside is a really pretty blue, but don't be mad at me. I'm probably going to do my stone technique on it, or maybe try a new one or make it look like concrete. I do love that blue, but I don't use that bright blue very often. Sometimes in the summer, I do have some things that are blue, but I got it because it was a great size. I love that medium size. So I picked that up, and it was on clearance for, I think, $13.50, and I think they normally sell for $22 or something like that. So get to your Walmart and check out their clearance aisle, because they have a lot of their summer pots and things on clearance. Okay, now this pot was $5 at the thrift store, and it was originally from Pier 1, and it has some really cool details. I kind of love it the way it is. So I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a makeover though. I got it for the size and the shape, and it was only $5. It's a good heavy piece. What do you guys think? I think I'm going to make it over, so don't hate me. Both of those are probably going to get makeovers, but this one would be fine the way it is. It has kind of a neat finish on it, but it's a little glittery, and I don't really do glitter. Okay, next, I'm kind of going randomly from store to store, but these also came from that same thrift store. I got the set for, I think, $12. I'm going to paint this set. I have a set that is special to me from my sister, and I didn't want to paint that set. It's super, super gold. These are already a toned down gold, so they're not bad, but I got them to paint as well. And I picked up two more of these little terracotta pots, the little squatty ones from the little boutique in my area. Sorry for the shadow. I don't have very good lighting in here right now. Also from the boutique, I picked up this metal wall hanger bucket. It's already black. I'm thinking that I may tweak that a little bit just to get rid of the galvanized look that you can see underneath. But I do like the black for the fall coming up. So I got that, and it was $38.95, but it was 40% off. So I went ahead and picked that up. It's pretty substantial. I know you can't tell from here, but it's probably about 26 inches tall, something like that. Okay, and I got this cute little lamp. It's always nice to find skinny lamps. I picked it up with a friend in mind, but I don't think it would fit under her cabinet. I'm going to go ahead and give it a makeover and use it somewhere in a display. It was $7. Now I do like this dark bronzy kind of look, so maybe it just needs a new shade. I don't like that pinstripe look on a shade, but the lamp would be fine, I suppose. Now I also grabbed this little watering pitcher, or watering can, watering tin, whatever you'd like to call it. It was only $7, you guys. Let's see. $7. And how cute. It's copper and brass. I love it. So that's going to go perfectly with all of my other copper pieces for the fall. What a neat handle, huh? And it's great because when you just need a little bit of water, you don't have a flowering can dumping water everywhere, which is what the one that I use for the porch does. It makes a huge mess. And the last things that I have to share with you today are these little wood round tabletops. Now, they're supposed to have 4 little stubby legs that come with them, but I looked everywhere on that clearance aisle and I could not find the legs, which is fine because I didn't like them anyway. So for $5 each, I was able to pick up 3 of these little really pretty wood, well, I'm going to call them tabletops, but aren't these great to make risers? Or, I mean, you can just use it as a tray. Just set it there and use it for a display. It has a nice little rim on it, like a little lip. So I was really happy to find these. I especially love this one because of the wood grain on it. And these were $5 a piece in my Walmart. I don't know how much exactly they sell for online, but again, go to the clearance aisle in your Walmart and see what you can find. So those are the things that I purchased. I got great deals on everything. And then these items over here are on the chopping block for a makeover. This I purchased years ago and I've been holding on to this. It's such a neat urn piece and just has some old foam in it. I think I picked that up for a couple of dollars. So this is my little workstation. I will be getting to some projects and you will see those most likely in the next video. Okay, so I have added a few more items that I want to give a little bit of a refresh on. This was a thrifted bucket. Can't remember if I shared that or not. I picked these up yesterday while I was out and they were $3 a piece. This is just like the other set. They're identical that I shared in a previous video, but these have really not the best paint job on them. And I wanted a set that I could make over in that sort of French country chippy garden look. So I picked that set up. And also this was from, I think, Kirkland's. It has a little light down in there. It's not super bright, but the paint job was never really the best. The lid is darker than the rest of it, but it has our last name initial on there. So I might do something with that if I get around to it. This little vessel back here, I'm eyeballing. I have some kind of different ideas for a lot of this stuff. That harvest sign, I am also going to paint some color. I'm not really into the galvanized metal. I like it and I think it's really cute, but it kind of clashes with the style that I have going on, so I'll probably repaint it. I also have this one that's going to get painted. I'm not really into the gold glitter on here. I mean, it's a cute pumpkin. It's metal and it would be good on the front porch or somewhere, wherever. But and the leaves are okay, but I just don't like this. I don't know. I don't like it. So I'm going to redo that. I also have these pumpkins. They were the Robert Stanley ones, I think, at Hobby Lobby. They have that extra fancy stem on them, but I don't like this silver color. So I figured that I would paint these as well while I'm at it. But the stem is great. And I don't remember how much they were, but I think I got these when they were like 70 or 80 or 90%. I don't know. One of their sales after the season, I'm sure. And let's see what else. Yeah, I think I showed the rest of that. So I have my work cut out for me today. I'm not sure how many I'll get to, but I need to go ahead and start knocking out some of these little projects so that I can implement them into my displays. Okay, I'm creating a huge mess here on my kitchen table, but what I have decided to do, because I've wanted some pumpkin topiaries for a long time, and they usually are kind of expensive or I don't like the look of them, and I kind of wanted ones that look like concrete. So I love these dark green ones. However, I don't like the stem, and that thing is hard. And I was going to replace it with one of these real ones, but they're just not, oh, that one's not real. One of these real ones. It's just not quite big enough for the scale. And then I was trying to like figure out how to cut this off and glue this on. Anyway, it just got too time consuming. And so I thought these would be great for topiaries. And so I left the stem on, and then I took one of the next smaller size, like a size up, and I cut a hole in the bottom and then put it down on top of there. And then I went to look for, I can either do like 3 or 4 layers, or 3 or 4 pumpkins tall. I really liked these, but they were just a little bit too small, and so I ended up kind of sacrificing these. I was going to use them as they were, but I recently got them in a haul from Carolina Pottery, but they are the perfect size. So I'm just going to use those. So it's this one, then this size, and then this size. And again, I just took, for the top one, I just took one of the stems off of a pick from Hobby Lobby. I think it was this one. And I'm just bending it like that, inserting it into the bottom of this pumpkin, and then I remove this stem, cut a hole in there, and it goes down in there, and I'll show you. So it's the bottom one. I left the stem. This one has a hole in it. I'm just sitting that down on there. And then this one, and this one I removed the stem. There's a little hole in there already, and then I just sort of turned that pick like that. You could use wire or whatever you wanted. Now I am going to hot glue all of these, of course, together, and then do my technique on them, and then I'll probably be putting moss in there or something. So I'm not sure, maybe some grass or something. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, that's what I am working on here. Created a bit of a mess, but I will finally have some topiaries. Okay, so what I want to do for a lot of my projects here is just sort of give myself a clean slate and just cover them up. I'm looking for that old aged garden statue type look, maybe just a stone look, a chippy look. That's just kind of what I like, and I want to add those elements throughout my decor. So I'm going to try to just sort of cover a lot of these. I might wait on that one, I'm not sure, but I want to just give myself a good base coat, and then I'll build my layers from there. So I'm just going to take this paint, and all I'm going to do is add some sanded grout. This is, I think, a DeLorean gray. Yeah, it's a DeLorean gray color, and it really doesn't matter. I'm just sort of wanting to add that gritty stone look. You can use like a concrete mix. You can use stucco patch. I like to use that a lot. You can really use anything. You can just use joint compound, but I want a little bit of that texture, so I'm just going to put some of this in the paint and give that a nice base coat. So I'm going to do that and mix this up, and we'll get started painting. All right, so I had my leftover paint. I added water, and then I added quite a bit of sanded grout, and it was too runny, so I added some joint compound to sort of thicken it up, and it's still fairly runny, but it's thick enough to go on. And I'm really just putting a base coat on. This is not what it's going to look like exactly. And so I'm just going in the direction of the pumpkin grooves here. And I wanted to say, you're probably, some of you may be like, well, why did you ruin that perfectly good pumpkin? They were so pretty, and they are. But as you can see, when you really look at them closely, they're just a foam, and a lot of them have like dents and ridges, and you can really tell that they're super fake. Not that concrete pumpkins are not fake, but sometimes they look good from a distance. But like this one had a decent amount of damage on it, and so I just decided to go ahead and use these for the project that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I have them glued fairly well, but these will be really lightweight. I was going to do the concrete ones where you put them in the bag and then tie the rope and all that kind of stuff, but then they would be heavy, and as far as storing these and moving them around and sitting them on tables and so forth, I think this later option will be just as good. So I'm going to coat the entire pumpkin topiary, both of them. And if you'll notice, well, I put a Walmart bag down, but I'm using my $5 Lazy Susan thrift store find. It makes things so much easier. And I have these little things under here that keep your paint project up off of your surface. All right, I'm going to keep going and painting this with its base coat. Now for this coat, you want to try to get kind of complete coverage. As you can see, I have a ton of space in here. So I'm going to be putting in probably some moss or grasses or something like that. I haven't decided. We'll see how the stone finish ends up turning out, and then I'll certainly fill this in with some leaves or vines or something to sort of bring it to life. So I'm not worried about those gaps. Okay, after I got a base coat on, I did go back over this first coat and just put a little more texture on there, try to hide some of the brush strokes. I went in the direction of the grooves in the pumpkins, and then I, just to make sure I had a decent coat on there. And then I went back and sort of just dabbed on some of the mixture, and that will try and create more texture. And of course, we'll be doing a few more layers at least. Now that those have a base coat, I'm going to go over here and grab some of these items and do the exact same thing. Now, just for clarification, I am not painting over some heirloom. These were just some DIY hand-painted ceramics, and the paint job is not a good one. So now I could have painted it where it looked more realistic with this set, but that's not the look that I want. I want like a garden statue look, like I mentioned, and I'm going to make all of these pretty much look the same. So I'm starting with this base coat. I'm loving them so far. Nice and neutral. So I'm going to continue and do this set, probably that gold set back there, this pumpkin that lights up, probably that planter, and I might do the owl over there, and maybe a couple of other things. All right, back to work. When you use clay-based paints, chalk paints, or other mixtures of joint compound and paint, you can wet distress your finishes, as I'm doing here, by using a wet cloth. Wet distressing is perfect when you are working indoors, so you don't have to sand and create a dusty mess. Now, I've used a crackle medium before, and I tried to use it here, but it didn't really work that well over these textured paints. I even tried to use my hair dryer, but it barely created any crackle effect whatsoever. However, using my fingers to remove some of the product while the mixture was still wet gave that chippy, aged look. Okay, for the top coat, I do actually have a feather finish concrete. I may end up using that. I have some more gray grout and some different things that I could use in place of paint that would actually look definitely like concrete, and I may do that. So what I've done is I've taken some linen white chalk paint, got that at Walmart, I think. I have to tape the lid on sometimes because it gets all gross around the edges. And I'm going to add a little bit of this Waverly ink, and then I have this smoky taupe color. I want it to be a warm, neutral color. I don't want it to be like a yucky gray. I don't want it to be a cold gray. So anyway, I'm going to try to make my own gray, basically. And I want it thin so I can easily work with it. I can always thicken it back up with some joint compound. So this is what I'm going to do, and try to put like a light layer over it and turn it so it goes over top of all of that texture and creates a really like neutral concrete finish. So that's the plan anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and try to mix these up. Again, this color is a smoky taupe. I don't know why this is rusting already. This is a new container. I've had it for a little while, but it's kind of rusty. Anyway, I'm going to keep stirring this. I'm running out of stir sticks, so I am using the other side of this old one. Okay, it's going to dry darker, as you can see there. I went ahead and added some of the original base coat color that got super thick because it had grout and plaster of Paris in it. But I think it will make it just a little more brown. This just wasn't quite brown enough to do so. So I'm going to mix this in and see what we come up with that added to it. And again, I mean, it's not terrible. It did get a lot darker, but I want it a little more warm. Okay, well, it added a bunch of lumps, but other than that, I'm not sure if it's going to make a huge difference. But I'm going to go ahead and use this. I think it's a decent enough concrete gray looking color without being too cool. So yeah, I mean, it may have warmed it up a tad. So we're going to go with this. Okay, so what I'm doing is dipping my brush into a little bit of water and then into this mixture. And then I am applying it to the pumpkin. And then I'm dabbing it off with a dry paper towel. And as you can see, it's really showing all of that texture. We're going to add a couple more layers, and it will make it look even richer. So I'm trying to leave some of that dark brown exposed. Of course, we'll be doing some glaze here and there and a top coat. But I think once this dries, it will give a nice, really good textured look of concrete or stone. Alright, so this is what we have so far. I need to let this layer dry. I'm going to, obviously, like I said, do a couple more layers, so we'll adjust the color a little bit. But I want to let this dry and see if I like the gray color exactly. So that's it so far. I think it's looking pretty good. Alright, on to the other items. So I ended up not being too happy with the gray tone that I came up with, and I tried to warm it up with a tad of the smoky taupe color. At this point, I was just trying to get to a look that I was happy with, and it seemed whatever I tried to add, it just wasn't working. In a way, I liked the look, but it didn't really work on all of the pieces. Okay, I have officially gone off the deep end. I have painted these pumpkins many times, and I think they look cool, and I think they do look like concrete. But I've decided that I don't think that I want them to look like concrete. I'm not sure. I might leave the topiaries this way, and add the moss and so forth. But I went back and painted this orange and this pumpkin planter orange. I'm leaving those with the chippy white highlights. This is probably going to get repainted. I'm just not liking things. I don't know. It's not working. I may add some glaze to this and leave it. You know, I'm just not sure. But as far as these topiaries go, at the very least, they need some moss and some twine or something on them. So I may leave those. I'm not sure. And then these that were silver, I think they're really cool, but I'm not, you know, I just don't know. I don't know. I may just make this white part, or the ivory color orange, and leave all the dark. I don't know. They're kind of cool. I haven't decided yet. So anyway, I have some orange paint still here. I did find an inspiration photo that I really liked on Pinterest. I will show it to you. So I may end up trying to do these topiaries more like those. I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm going to think about this and then get to it. If there's one thing I've learned through all of my trial and error projects, it is to just keep painting until you are satisfied. Okay, so here we have one of those pumpkin topiaries, and I wanted to talk to you about finishing off your project if you decide to do something like this, whether you do it in just the concrete, whether you do white, orange, whatever color you want to fit your decor style. when you get to this point, you may, if you're like me, you're going to have these gaps here that you're going to be able to see in. As you can see there and down here, there are large gaps. And so this gives you an opportunity to further personalize your topiaries. So for this one, I'm going to show you a couple of different options that you can sort of tuck in there and give it a different look. So I may spin this one around so you can see a large gap. Let's see. All right, there's a large gap here, as you can see. So we need to fill those. Now, if you don't want it to be permanent, you can fill them each year. Just kind of tuck things in there, maybe a tad of hot glue, just a little bit to hold it in place. And then you may want to do a different vine or leaf coming out or little sticks, whatever it is that you want to put in there to finish off your topiary. You can swap those out. If you want them more permanent, just use a lot more glue or permanent glue and they will stay in there. And so let's try some different options here. So here is one option. You can just tuck in some natural moss, easily found at all of the crafting stores or Walmart, or really anywhere. They may have it at Dollar Tree, I'm not sure. But a very inexpensive addition that makes it look really finished and very rustic country kind of look. I really like that one. Looks very natural. So let's try another moss. Okay, and here is a little bit of the lighter, brighter green moss. It adds just a little bit more life and contrast. You can see a little bit of that natural color still under there. So you can mix and match. You can add multiple colors, but I do like the contrast of the green. Now, I would add a lot more if I were going to put it in here permanently. I just had a little bit on hand to show you the difference. So anyway, I like that color. It's a nice brighter green. It'll give it some contrast. So here's another option. You can go really wild with it. Now, this kind of moss I got on clearance after Halloween at Michael's. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but you can add really any contrasting color. This one looks really good with the orange. I think it would look really good as well with concrete. Now, I don't have it glued in here. I just have these big pieces. I'm just trying to show you that this brighter green makes a really nice contrast. So I like that color and option as well. And the other moss, you can see what it does. It makes a huge mess. So maybe this is a better option, but it would be glued into place. So there's another one. So here are all of the pumpkin projects that I finished so far. I have those small pumpkins. They are sitting on candlesticks that I recently thrifted. I can get over here. Really heavy twisted metal and brass candlesticks. They look really cute on top of there. Now, I may add something beneath them and use them in a totally different way, but for now, just showing you, there's an idea if you make over some small ones. And then this pumpkin planter or vase that was originally from Joann's that was very plain orange and smooth. I really like all the texture it has. Now, I added these picks that were from Carolina Pottery a couple years ago. And I would say this is more of an early fall look. They have some of the leaves changing there and just some really nice early fall colors. I think you could use those for spring as well. I don't really know what season, but I think they look great in there and they make it a lot brighter. So any florals you want to use in those is great. And here is that pumpkin from Kirkland's. It was very plain with no texture and the light inside stopped working. Just had a single little candle, like fake flame. It was not very bright. It never was. And so I added some fairy lights inside. They're sort of like the warmer copper color. And I just have that sitting on a candlestick. Now, I am not going to be decorating just like this. I'm just kind of doing a quick display here to show you how some of these turned out. And then, of course, there's that topiary, and I did do 2 of those exactly the same. I'll be finishing those with whatever I decide to put in here for my decor. I may use that or something else. I was just showing you some ideas. So those are the orange pumpkin projects that I finished, and I love the rustic, elegant colors. I think they go so well with my decor and color scheme. So there are those. Now let's look at the other items that I completed. Again, this is not how I'm going to decorate exactly. I just kind of threw this stuff together to show you how it looks so far and how it turned out. Here is that metal bucket that I painted to look more rustic and distressed in more of a brown color instead of the black and galvanized. I know it's hard to see, but I like how that turned out. It suits my style and color scheme much better. And right now I just tucked some ferns in there. I'm not sure where I'm going to hang that, if it's going to be inside or on the front porch, but I'm happy with that. Now the other piece that I did in a dark finish is this vase urn type thing that was thrifted. I really love how it turned out. It looks like cast iron. It is very heavy, and I think the darker color makes it look more expensive. So I'm super happy with that. Now here are those pheasants. I did leave these in that French country garden kind of concrete chippy look that I love so much. I just ended up not liking it as far as the pumpkins went. I mean, I did like it, but I thought, you know what, I wanted them to be orange because I like using orange in the fall. So these will stay this color, and I love how they turned out. They look very chippy to me and old, and something that looks like it was out in the garden for a long time, getting all rained on. Now I almost forgot to show you this set. They turned out a little bit different. They have a much brighter white chippy look on them. I think I might save these for Christmas because my husband said it kind of looks like snow, and I said, you know, you're right, they would be pretty at Christmas. They are a little bit darker and deeper, and then they have the lighter, whiter sort of chippy look on them. These are a little more muted, if you can tell the difference, and there's a little bit of yellow aged paint on those. So again, I mean, you can change these so easily with just a tiny bit of paint difference and really recreate anything that you already have in your own home or thrifted items. So I encourage you to dig around your house and see what you have and what you might want to make over. It's a lot of fun, it's relaxing, and you don't really have to spend a lot of money. You do need a little bit of materials, but I didn't buy anything that I didn't already have on hand this time. I didn't want to go out and spend a bunch of money on paint, so I used what I had, and this is how things turned out. As the seasons change, I like to start with a clean slate before I decorate and add all of the little accessories, so I decided to rearrange the furniture oriented toward the fireplace, and I moved the entertainment center over to the entry wall. Now you know I loved those green velvet curtains, but I decided to swap them out for a deep rust color. I brought out one of our slim Christmas trees and put that in place. It will be decorated for fall. I added some candle sconces on either side of the entertainment center. Now, of course, a lot of this may change as I begin to decorate, but I have the basic layout in place. Hopefully, I'll find a rug soon, but either way, we're going to be decorating for autumn in the next video. I already have some bins opened up and ready to go. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I hope everyone is getting excited for the upcoming autumn season. It's my absolute favorite. I am an October baby. I love everything about the fall. I love pumpkin everything. Yes, I'm one of those girls. I just love it. I love sweatshirts and comfy clothes, and well, we don't necessarily have to put on a fire here in the early fall, but we might do that when it gets a little bit cooler. in November. But yeah, I'm just so excited about it. And I hope that you are too. I hope this video gave you a little bit of inspiration to get out your paintbrushes and maybe make over some things that you already have on hand. It's great to save money, and you know, everything has gone up. So if you purchased some pumpkins maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they're probably quite a bit higher now. So if you're tired of the color, it's great to just pull out your paints and make them over. You know, you don't have to spend a lot of money and buy new things every year. You know, it is nice to get a few things and freshen things up, but you know, if you already have a lot of things and you just maybe don't like the color, the easiest thing to do is just to sort of paint them and give them a makeover. So I hope you found some inspiration today with the techniques that I did. Let me know if you like them in the comment section below. And I'm curious to know what color you like at what stage of the pumpkins did you like? I really did love that concrete look, but I thought, you know, I really like orange. And so that's why I did all of the pumpkins over in orange, and I really do love how they turned out. But the great thing is I kind of know, you know, next year if I want some really tall pumpkin, concrete looking topiaries, I'll know what to do. And it's fun experimenting with all of those things. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will subscribe if you haven't already. Please give me a like if you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, bye for now.